Imagine buying a home in a new build community and paying a hefty lot premium just to have the home that backs to the open space of a new elementary school that you're so excited for your kids to go to, only to find out that instead a big apartment building is going to be constructed.
That's right. That is exactly what could happen in one Douglas County neighborhood. Today, we're talking about 3 big Douglas County school issues where builders promise schools and that promise is not being fulfilled. So we're going to talk, by the end of this video, you're going to understand all the neighborhoods that need to be concerned, where those kids in those neighborhoods are going to end up going to school, how this is going to impact traffic routes, real estate values, and everything you need to understand about this situation.
That's right. We are Jake and Megan Freedle. We are your brother-sister team, full-time real estate agents, part-time tour guides to all things Denver living. And today we're going to talk to you about everything you need to know about these Douglas County school closures.
So whether you're a buyer looking into this area for the perfect neighborhood, or whether you are considering selling your home in the future, wondering how these issues are impacting your home's value, we are here to guide you through the whole thing so you understand all of the factors involved here. So let's hit it.
Let's start off by talking about Crystal Valley Ranch, because this was a new build community where this exact thing just happened. So they have this thing, and this happens a lot with new build communities. You walk in the sales office and they have the big billboard with pitching all of the features and the amenities and all the great things with the community. And on that, they have the map where they have the school site blocked off and maybe even a little icon picture of a school. Definitely seems pretty set in stone to the people walking in, but it's definitely not. And this is a great example of how it's not, because that middle school is not actually going to be built there.
That's right. And this is something we tell folks about new builds all the time, is there's just a lack of certainty in this whole process. As a matter of fact, we have a whole video on this called The Dark Side of New Builds. Check it out. But back to this today. So if you looked at the site plan, what it had originally was this large, we've got Crystal Valley Ranch on the south side, and far north, you've got Crystal Valley Parkway, and across that major road, we had the site for the middle school. Mm-hmm. So it's just to the east of Rhyolite Park, and in between that and another neighborhood. And to me, if you look at how things ended up here and you look at that tiny little space, this was ill-fated from the start. I mean, it just looks like a space that's going to be squished to fit an entire middle school in. And I'm just a guy who's looking at a map. But it never made sense to me, and now it does make sense that there's not going to be a school there.
Yeah, I mean, crossing that road is one thing, but as if that placement and all of the weirdness associated with the location was not bonkers enough, the size of it was just not enough. So it was 20-acre parcel that was proposed to be this middle school, and only 17-ish acres of that was actually buildable land. And I guess you need about 30 acres to build a middle school. That's not something I knew about.
I know, but you know who should have known that? The builder. Yeah. That was a pretty major mess up there.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they intentionally, bait and switched people into thinking there was going to be a school knowing it would never happen there, but it all just does feel a little bit messy. And now something has to happen with that parcel of land that was originally slated for this middle school. And it's been a topic of contention of what's going to happen. And it's pretty set in stone at this point that that is going to be passed on to become more homes. I mean, we're talking over 100 homes in that area, and that's not what anybody was expecting. So maybe you bought the lot of land thinking you were going to back to the open space of the school. Maybe you bought the land because you really wanted to be that really, really close jot to your middle school. Or maybe you just did not expect another 115 people adding, or 115 families adding to your neighborhood density. And so these are a lot of the things that are coming up because of this.
And what did the district let the builder get that piece of land back for? $500,000? I mean, you can't even buy
home in that community for that.
I know, right? I was going to say you can barely buy a lot in that community for that much. Mm-hmm. Insane. So what's happening for all the middle schoolers in this situation? Because that part is a mess. So you used to have this little school that was going to be a short walk away across a busy road, albeit. But now we have 2 other options. You've got a charter school, which includes some uniforms and some other different things about the charter school that is 3 miles away from the original site. in Castle Rock. And you've got another school, which is Mesa Middle School, that is 6.5 miles away.
That's a tough drive.
I mean, that goes from being like a minor inconvenience across a busy road to being like, you're driving to a whole new town almost.
Yeah, what if you had an older middle schooler and you specifically bought a home walking distance so you could feel like they could safely get there while you headed to work? And now you're having to wait until their school starts to go do the extra, 15-minute drive longer?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then head off on your work day. That is really tough.
And no shot of walking or, pretty hefty bike ride even for these kids if they want to go to either of these locations.
So the next neighborhood that we'll talk about is Sterling Ranch, because there's a big school problem going on there. And this school problem is not like what we talked about in our other video. If you've heard about some of the schools closing down in Douglas County, they were having that issue because they didn't have enough students to fill the schools. This is not the issue here.
There's not enough schools to fill the students.
Yes, they've got 700 elementary age students in that area and nowhere to put them. So this isn't a capacity issue, it's a funding issue. And so when we think about these new build communities and we think about their very high taxes and what all is being paid for them, we always pitch like those high taxes have to be there because they've got to build all this new infrastructure that's not in place like some of these older communities already have set up. And we think of that being like a new school. And they do pay a fee toward a new school. Sterling Ranch, this new build community, has paid about $3 million in their fees to go towards school funding. And that felt like a lot to me.
Yeah, unfortunately not. You need something like $60 million to fund an elementary school.
Yeah, okay, so they don't have that, and they need it if they want to put that elementary school in. So what do? Well, they have to get a Douglas County-wide vote to approve a bond to fund it. So you're asking people in the district to fund your school, and that's a problem.
So Megan, you mean the moms who are ready to protest and stop traffic on Highlands Ranch Parkway because they lost their home elementary schools? Those folks have to vote yes on a bond to open another elementary school on a different part of town?
Yeah, that's a tough sell.
Brutal.
So if there isn't the elementary school in Sterling Ranch right now, it really means that for your school options, you've got a few in Highlands Ranch, and that's where you've got to go to, or there's a couple over in Roxborough. You do have the one charter. Do you remember the name of that?
John Adams Academy is coming. It's going to start as a K-8 school and then plans to expand for K-12 starting in the fall of 2026.
But outside of that, you are traveling, to get to most of your schools. And of course, that's a transportation pain point, a commute pain point. Your kids aren't walking to school, very often pain points, but there's more to it than just that.
Yeah, it's really like a community issue, because your kids aren't going to the school within the community. So a lot of times their friends are going to live farther away. And so beyond the drive to school, there's drives to friends' house, and there's just like the kids can't just ride their bikes around and see each other. And so we're really just like building more, like shoving these kids inside more to be on their televisions because they're not going to be around their community.
Yeah, a little bit of a community divide. But this story does have a little bit of a happy ending.
That's right. After several dirt lots have been proposed and denied and lots of arguing back and forth, Elementary School 51, as it is currently called, has finally been approved and funded.
So hopefully that opening up soon. That is the elementary school. Still nothing fully set for a middle or high school, but hopefully that's coming very soon as well.
So you're still going to Highlands Ranch for that, which is, I don't know if we said, about a 10 to 15 minute drive, depending on where you are in Sterling Ranch.
Last and definitely not least.
As a matter of fact, maybe most.
Yeah, maybe the most of a struggle of a story is what happened over in Meridian Village. It's a story really similar as to what happened over in Crystal Valley Ranch. There was a proposed site for an elementary school that never came to fruition. And to understand everything that happened here, you really got to understand something called the 6th grade migration.
Right. A lot of schools in this area were on a system where they would do K through 6 for the elementary schools. And for a number of reasons, including this very school issue, the school district decided in this area that these schools would swap to a K through 5, and then the 6th graders would instead be part of middle school, changing some of those middle schools from just 7-8 to 6-7-8. So because of all of that, we ended up with extra spaces across those other elementary schools, and ultimately they decided they did not need this additional elementary school.
And so without this new proposed elementary school, the kids in the area are just left to go to one of a couple different schools nearby. And neither of them are a terribly long distance away. None of them are a super easy walk. But I think the bigger pain point is that both of them require you to cross a fairly major road to get to them. Now, if you want to figure out which one, if you have a preference on which one you're going to and you want to figure out how to apply to those, we actually have a whole video going over Douglas County School of Choice and how to pick and get into certain schools and find out which ones you've gotten into. So be sure and subscribe and check that one out. But in the meantime, that is what these people are doing, is they're figuring out one of those couple schools to go to and crossing a bit of a major road to get into it.
That's right. There are two school choices that are geographically closest. One is much closer, straight as a crow flies, but it has a weird street situation where you have to drive way around. And the other, so that's one's about 2.5 miles driving away. Not really a clear walk path either on that one. And the other one is just about 2 miles away driving. Further straight as a crow flies, but an easier driving route. Another thing in this process is what's being proposed for the formal school plan. It is being proposed that there will be an apartment building, which is not everyone's favorite in a neighborhood like this. They are trying to solve another problem, which hey, maybe it's a good thing we don't need another school because the school district's not paying our teachers enough money to live in their own county anyway. So they're actually proposing in this apartment building be prioritized as low-income housing for teachers and other county workers. We could just pay our teachers a little better.
That is a fantastic idea right there.
Well, that's a wrap on Douglas County's broken promises. Thanks so much for joining us today. Whether you're a buyer who's incoming and looking to get to know the area better and wondering the perfect neighborhood for you, or you are already a homeowner wondering how these things impact your resale value, we are professional real estate agents here to help you understand all the nuances so you can make a strong decision about your next move.
Yes, absolutely. We've got videos of neighborhood tours, more information on schools, anything that you can really want to know about anything in Southern Denver and beyond. We have all that content ready for you, but none of it is a great replacement for an in-person or on-the-phone conversation with us. So text us, schedule a Zoom call with us, or just give us a ring because we're so excited to talk to you.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.